Hi, this video is going to finish up the coffee example that we've been working on. And in this one, we're going to talk about how to delete records. So your last task is to write a program that Julie can use to delete records from the coffee.txt file. Like the process of modifying a record, the process of deleting a record from a sequential access file requires that you create a second temporary file. You copy all of the original file's records to the temporary file, except for the record that is to be deleted. The temporary file then takes the place of the original file. You delete the original file and rename the temporary file, giving it the name that the original file had on the computer's disk. So here's the general algorithm. You're going to open the original file for input and create a temporary file for output. Get the description of the record to be deleted. Read the description field of the first record in the original file. While the description is not empty, read the quantity field. If the record's description field does not match the description entered, write the record to the temporary file. Then you read the next description field. Once you get to the end of the file, you close the file, the original file and the temporary file, delete the original file, and then rename the temporary file, giving it the name of the original file. So let's go ahead and we'll work on this code. And okay, so I'm getting this opened up here, Python, and start a new file. Okay, so we're going to import OS, and so we can modify the files as we work on these, and create our main function here. We're going to set a variable found equal to false. Then we're going to do a search. It's going to be equal to input which coffee do you want to delete? Okay. And then we already have the file name, so we can go ahead and use that. We're going to use a with this here, with open coffee.txt. Opening this for a read as coffee file. And then open temp.txt. We're opening this for a write as temp file. Drag this out a little bit here. There we go. Okay, so first thing is our description is going to be equal to coffee file dot read line. And while our description does not equal quote quote, we'll go in here and process this. We'll get the quantity. So our quantity be equal to a float of our coffee file dot read line. Our description to be equal to our description dot rstrip our carriage return. Get rid of that. Otherwise, when we go to make the comparison, it won't work. So if description does, whoops, up here, does not equal our search, and temp.file dot, whoops, sorry, it's temp file dot write our description \n, okay, and then our temp file dot write f, and then in the curly braces our quantity qty \n, and I need a curly brace right there. There we go. Else found equals true. We found it. Then our description is going to be equal to coffee file dot read line. Okay, so we get the next one in until we run out. Give you a second here to get caught up with that. Okay, so that is actually the end of our while loop and the end of our if, or I'm sorry, the end of our with. So what we want to do now is set up the files here. So we're going to do an os dot remove coffee.txt, and then we'll do an os dot rename temp.txt, comma, coffee.txt. And then we'll do an if found. Then we'll print a message. Type here would help. File has been updated. Else we'll print that item was not found in the file. Okay, so we just need to call our main. So if underline name underline equals, and then in quote marks underline main underline end quote colon main parentheses and parentheses. Okay. Okay, so we got that all done there. I'm going to go ahead and get this file saved. And find where I got this in here. We'll save this as deletecoffee.py, and you can save it whatever name you want to. I think the book used a different name on here, but they used delete coffee record, so I just left the record off of it there. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. Which coffee do you want to delete? I'm going to put in, make sure, see if I spell it right. Brazilian. Oops, IAN, that's why. Dark roast. Okay, that item was not found in there. So what I'm going to do, since I did that, is I'm going to go out here where I've got my coffee file here. Open this up. And I must have just misspelled it. So I'm going to do American slow roast, because that would be easier to spell. At least for me it is. And I need to double check because of upper and lower case. I didn't do anything on that. Looks like it's all capitalized in there. So American. And that file's been updated. So now I'll go in here and close this off and then go back over to my folder and open up my coffee file again. And there it's missing. Both the name and the quantity is gone. So that's how you can delete records out of a file in Python when you have these text files and you have to do them in sequential order like that to be able to get those to delete out of there. And you can do more than one in here. Instead of having this the search up here, we can go inside here and do that. It's a little bit more complicated doing it that way, but this can be put into like a menu for all of the different ones that are that we did. The search, the add, all those can be put into a menu, and then the user then, if they have more than one they want to delete out, they can do that on here then. So hopefully this was beneficial for you. Bye.